I hope I am audible for everyone to hear this. So we are going to start with the webinar. Today's topic would be AutoCAD Dynamic Block. And the dynamic block has been really interesting when we talk about creating a construction drawings or any kind of a source which will help us to delivering our plans, elevation sections, or the whole construction document to our client. On a user side, the block are going to be plays a very vital role. So hi, I'm Munit Kumar Sharma, and I am an architect by profession, working senior BIM specialist in Capricorn Technologies Private Limited. Today, I'm being your host. So let's get started. First of all, I'll welcome you all that you have given up your precious time to attend this webinar. We are from Capricorn Technologies, and Capricorn Technologies is the India's design and construction management leading technology. We have been service provider for the architecture, engineering, and the construction. We have been since 1987, having a 20,000 plus Indian customers. We are having an office inside Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. We are having a 40 plus BM tech service, and we are having a 250 plus of a team where we are delivering our design and our service solutions to different industry. Like I said, that it's EEC industry. Capricorn having now become as a Win Zero company. We are having a worldwide offices now, US, CAD in United States of America, CAD line in UK, and E2K is in Australia, and Capricorn is in New Delhi headquarters. So from here, we are going to begin with our webinar's agenda. What are the things we are going to be kept for you by today is creation of a blocks, block editor functionality, publishing a saving blocks, and tips and tricks where you are going to utilize your workability for creating a lot of stuff when you are playing around the construction drawings. So I'm very excited to provide you that informations, what is going to be stored for the hour. Key learning objectives, what are the things you are going to learn by the end of the session is dynamic blocks. We are going to understand how the parameters are going to be worked out in the construction fields. What are the limits of a block variation if you're going to utilize your increment values or a block in a table, so you wanted to do a lot of actions inside a block, so how you are going to do it. Then the third one is we are going to talk about a lot of constraints and parameters so that we are having a better control on our blocks and its behavior. Then we are having a extract dynamic block properties to create a AutoCAD tables, right? So we found that when we are utilizing a parametric tables, how it's going to be utilized after coming from the block editor, right? So you are having a particular kind of a block editable part where you are going to utilize those blocks in a quicker manner, right? After doing this, you will have here a certain things like blocks. First, we are going to talk about blocks which are being named groups object, right? That act as a single 2D or a 3D object. You can utilize those blocks into a repeated components, like you wanted to create a common components like a standard details, or you wanted to create a blocks helps to create a save time. You wanted to create a consistency for making a blocks to a repetitive content. You wanted to reduce your file size since you have been a utilizer of blocks in a many drawings, how you are going to create your content and sharing to other staff or probably the other team members, right? Then we are going to have a dynamic blocks into the image where we are getting a ability to save a time, and those time value are going to be initiated with your design procurement or probably the design idea to create a more analytical point of view on your design rather wasting your time into a block changes or a block modifications. How those blocks are coming into the block library will help you out. And let's in a more of the sessions when I utilize a webinar or an one-to-one session, I always used to ask a person that, do you really have a blocks, right? How many slide variations do you have inside a block, right? So they said that the blocks are going to be a most tricky part when we comes into a AutoCAD. They know how to create a block, but they don't know how to create them into a parametric, right? So today we are going to understand about a little bit functions about a parametric. So Now the next question comes over here is why blocks? Why we are not doing with the other stuff? Why not we creating independent elements or independent layers category? Why we are not providing those things into a layers management, right? See, blocks are been utilized for a what and a why always, right? So blocks have been complex. That's we know it's a compound object creating from a multiple elements or multiple lines, polylines, circles, right? It's having a lot of entities combined into a single component, right? They are being utilized for the design center blocks. It's going to be utilized for the symbols, or you'll utilize for the many landscaping areas, or the particular area we are having a number of a repetitions part, right? At that time, we utilize the blocks. At those time, we are not going to apply for a number of elements and placing them into a one group, or making them into a layers, or making them into a other kind of a tools. No, we utilize the blocks at that time. And why should we utilize the blocks? It's having a multiple advantages. The first one is like it's always stored into your drawing database as just like a one element. The second is you are going to have a instance of a block definitions. One block has been different from the other. Let's say talk about chair, right? So there are multiple varieties of a chairs you are having. You wanted to segregate it a different kind of a chairs into a study table, or utilizing with a study table, or utilizing with a dining table, right? So they are instance of a block definitions. You can provide them with a block attribute. Attribute is something like you can give them as a tag when you wanted to create a documentation for your client, right? So you can name them what kind of a chairs you are making, like it's you can provide a product ID for the chair part, right? The advantages over here is, let's say that it is a repetitive task. You have to indulge with a lot of a time taking process. You have to copy all those elements multiple times. So block would be the best part, where you are going to make them into identical copies into a multiple copies. And once you going to change inside a block editor, it's going to be utilized inside of your whole drawing. So it will be the modification process very easy. It reduces the file size. Of course, when you are having a lot of elements and those elements are not comprising with the small lines or arcs, right? It'll be difficult to incorporate them into one bulk sizes. So yes, blocks will reduction of a file size too as well. And you can create a lot of a custom components, right? With a little bit smart techniques, right? Like we are going to discuss for the today's session. Now, workflow, right? We need to understand about what is a workflow of a blocks. When we understood a workflow of blocks, right? After that, we can create into a smart blocks. Let's say I have utilized this one from creation to reuse. You know, when you are creating any kind of a block, you will having here a lot of elements get inside of it. You are going to utilize the lines, polylines, circles, sublines. There are n number of things, even included the text as well, right? So first of all, our main motto is to creating a block. So creating a block is just like a chalk and cheese, right? You have to create a vector based traditional CAD elements, right? And after utilize those elements into a one kind of a combined object, right? You are going to provide them a little bit intelligence, and little bit intelligence are going to be come throughout only if you have your elements have been into a proper dimension or proper layout, right? But there's an important thing over here is that dynamic blocks have been really smart works for the 2D part, but it will not going to be converted into a 3D, right? So that is the one thing you need to understand. We cannot translate into a 3D. Then second is modify blocks. Once you created a block, for example, if you wanted to change them a little bit tweak, or you wanted to change some dimension, length, width, or anything apart from your blocks dimension, right? So you can change. How you're going to change? You can change it through your attributes. You can change it through a features, base point, stretch, lookup table. From the properties table, you can change it through the visibility. That's all we are going to have for the session, where you can able to understand the whole thing. Then in the third step, we have to talk about here saving blocks. Now it has been important because out of 4 or 6 hours you have invested to creating a block, you have made a functionality of a smart block get to provide it into a block. Now you wanted to save a block in a such a way so that it's going to be utilized for the next project. If you are using a next project coming into the way of a next month probably, so whatever the hard work you have done for the 4 or 6 hour into those time spent, that will going to be utilized for the next project as well. So you need to understand that those blocks are going to be saved into your palette. It can be stored into a different drawing. It can be saved into a tool palette, or it can be stored inside a design center, right? And when you are going to work on a next project, so you can rename according to the features. Then the dynamic block we are having, I'm going to showcase how the dynamic blocks are going to be characterized inside a AutoCAD. So we are having here a AutoCAD 2024. So firstly, you can see my screen 2024, right? And I'm just inserting the units, right? So first of all, I'll create here a one rectangle, let's say with a dimension of 50 by 230. So you found that once you create it with the pinch of a dimensions, right? You can give here a dimension, check the dimension, whatever the size of it. Right now I'm making here a door frame, right? So that's why I have provided here the one of the dimensions. So let me check here a dimension with now one of a rectangle, giving here a 50 by 900. So one of its part is been a frame and the another one would be a panel. The next I place here a part of a arc. So let me provide with a start point, and then would be the start center of my arc. By placing a control key, you can just change your arc position into a opposite side. Now I'll just provide the frame to be make a copy. Let me move this one on another side of it and delete the previous one. After doing this, this is the frame of and the panel get I inside with my door thing. I wanted to create this one with the wipeout. Wipeout is something like where you are going to utilize the things which you want to hide, right? So right now I'm just making here a rectangle, and those rectangle are going to be help me out for creating those blocks which I wanted to hide for my walls. All right. So after doing this stuff, there's a one problem sometimes people used to face, that when they are making a wall, right, the wall is going to be cutted automatically, right? So basically it not cutted automatically, it will be a utilization of a wipe. So over here I'll just erasing my, not erasing, I'm just hiding my wipe thing so that the frames are not going to be part of my the door block, right? When it comes to a contact of a wall, it will going to be look like that, it will be deleted, right? So I'm just increasing a little bit size on my upper end, having a 10 mm, so that I could able to select in my drawing area very easily that this would be a wipeout and this is that would be the wall. After doing this, if I wanted to stretch on my left hand side or a right hand side, I can do that stuff as well, right? After doing this, you found that the door has been placed with the frame panel. Now I'll make a block. So I'm just writing with the capital note with the D, giving here a pick point for my frame part, and making the selecting object, whichever the object I wanted to get part of my block. So I selected all those things, right? And there's a little bit things if you wanted to select 2 or 3 things more into a block, so you can do it. So I wanted to redefine, let's say make this a redefine. So now you found that they would be a little bit line, but we can arrange this one by making a trimming or by making a distance to be a move from a one point to another point, right? So that thing can be done quickly by selecting a door like this. Okay, so after doing this stuff, right, you'll having here a block editor panel. In the block editor panel, you'll got here a parameters, actions. Right now I'm selecting here a linear, right? There's a linear parameter. So for doing this, I have to give in here a starting point. What would be my linear dimensions? So from this corner of a point, I'll found that once I place a dimension, you will get here a dimension distance parameter, and that will help me around for changing any stuff, right? Any stuff means if I wanted to change something like changing of dimensions after saving the block, so I can do this. So I'm just changing, let's say giving a dimension of my perpendicular dimensions. So I'll just selecting two of my points and giving them a little bit of this corner, and making this one as a draw this into back. And this is my rectangle, this is my wipeout. So right now I have provided a dimension of my internal frame of this, right? And you found that the distance has already been saved, and I can select it by making a tab hit and changing the dimension from the upper to the boundary of my wipeout. So let me change this one to all of my four corners. Right, so right now I'll have this selections. So if I select here a boundary of this, so now I wanted to select the upper part, so I can select on the left hand corner and selecting this grip to over here. Let me delete this. Okay, now I have here options to get a distance. Okay, so with having a parameter like a linear parameter, right, I can open here a properties of it, and in the bottom sides of my parameters, you found there's a number. So number would be only a one for the number of a points is asking. Number of points, I have made them into a one. Now I want to provide here actions. So action is like stretch. So for doing this, I need to select the dimensions which I have provided, and now giving here a starting point. Now starting point is over here, let's say. And when you mention here a starting point, you need to define here the corner of a stretching portion. So I wanted to stretch this area. When I change the distance, now is asking what are the object you wanted to get stretch. So I select the dimension, I select the frame as well, right? And when selection, all things have been done, it'll come with the one icon called as a stretch icon. And you found that the distance is now doing with the action. Right now, horizontal part can be changed, but what if I wanted to change the vertical part as well, the arc part as well, right? So I need to provide here again the same point. I wanted to stretch this area because if the horizontal dimension change, this point also get changed, right? So you found that the two icon have been placed. Right, so when you say select here this icon as a second stretching point, so this stretching point comes with the properties. Right now over here you'll get it down, and you found there is a override angles right in the distance and a 90 degree. So I provide this one as a 90 degree, so that always frame can comes into a 90 degree whenever it can change. Right, so this is the one thing you can do, right? And sometimes many of the times, right, you wanted to provide the arc also needs to be get changed, right, with the panel, because it's going to be created with the whole one component. So that also can be done, right? There is no harm in it. You can select your arc to your starting point of your panel, right? And making those, now I wanted to do here a scale for doing this. So selecting again the distance object as in a parameter, and action I'm utilizing for the scale part. Once I'm making a selection this object, you need to understand that what kind of a scale you wanted to change. I wanted to change this line with the within the part of my changes of distance. Let's say I want to have a 900,000 or 1200 size of my door, so it's going to be changed with the arc as well, right? So the three there's a one parameter and there is a three actions I have provided. Now all those things have been sorted, right? You found that the scale parameters over here, right? You'll found here are two stretches have been there. One is for the horizontal and others for the panel part, right? Going into a parameter, you found there's a basement as well. If you wanted to provide a basement for the insertion point, right? When you're providing a door, what would be your insertion point? So I select a base point as my insertion. Now I wanted to utilize that with a single click. I want to change my door position, right? So I'm just making here a flip arrows. So using here a flip state, it helps me to change the direction of my flipping, right? So you found that the icon come over here. So once I click, the shape of the door will be changing automatically. I'll do it once again. How the flip is going to be utilized. First, you need to go to selecting a flip and giving here a position at the mid of it. So while you are making here a parameter, right, you need to identify that what is a end point of your reflection line, right? So either you can go with the midpoint of a two lines, or you want to go with the middle point, like mid between a two lines I'm making, right? You can start from the this point or start from the middle point as well. So if you wanted to provide a arrow on the midpoint, so you select midpoint over here, and now give here a axis line like this, and over here it will going to become with the flip state. With the flip state, it comes with the one icon that you can change your orientation of a door left to right? So this is how you can convert your block into a single click. Now the action, you also provide this one with the flip state. Select your parameter. Now selecting with the parameter, you need to define the flip state to be selected. Let's say this is selected now. So make here enter. Now select your object. What object you wanted to make it a flip. So selecting all those objects like this, and you found that now the flip arrow has been there. You can change your position to left to a right. Right, after making a left to a right, you can have options to make up and down as well, right? If you wanted to have another flip thing, so you can provide those things as well, like left and right been provided. Now I wanted to make it up and down, change the position of a 180 to a 360, right? So I'll providing in the mid of it. So coming again midpoint, mid of this, making here a line like this, and going into the selection of a line, I'll have here a flip point state 2, going apply here a flip action. So selecting a parameter. Once the parameter is selected, now I have to select the whole object. So you found here, now close this block editor. After closing, you need to apply and check that whether it will be changing whatever the stuff you have done. So now you found that these are the flip arrows. You made it over here. And with a single click, you can change it through this action. Right, so these action can be provided very quickly, and you found that the single click, from the single click you can change. And now if you are changing the dimension and all stuff, it will changing with the orientation as well, right? So this is how the smart blocks can help you out. Now with that, there is an option over here, distance one, which we have provided with the distance. So I can change to a 1200. Like if I wanted to change into a 900,000 or any stuff of my dimension, I can do it very quickly, right? Now, by making the whole block like this, right, you want to have a next set of a parameter. If you want to apply, let's say there's a visibility or like a lookup table, right? So you also can provide on this block, right? There's an n number of a dimension you can provide and make the single block into a parametric block where you can change a lot of a dimension. You wanted to change the parameters of a frame dimension, so you also change that, right now I have only provided the distance one dimension, the length dimension, sorry, it is going to be called as a width dimension of my door, right? So I can change it through it. There's option, lot of options, like on the properties palette there's a incremented value. Right now if I wanted to change an increment value or a list value, let's say I have a list of the door, single door width, right? The first is a 900. I wanted to add more number of a list, let's say 1000, 1200 or a 750 or a 800 dimensions. So I can do this. Now I am adding a number of distances according to my list. So there would be a 3 list dimension I want to get add with this door. Now making here okay. So the default one is a 900. Now let's apply over here, selecting your door. Now selecting with the door, in the distance one parameter, you'll get here a 3 types of a dimension, 900, 1000 and 1200. So whatever the size you're having in your terms of a project, you can change. Right now, let's see what is the size right now. It will be 1200, right? 1200 of its width. So now This is the part of your doors, right, where you can utilize the smart thing. Right now I'm just giving here a dimension so that if I wanted to place here a 900 door or a 1200 door, so you'll able to understand. So let me give here a standard height for my text. Right, and the font would be Arial, and making here a dimension standards to a modify, changed here arrow size and text size. So let it be as 150. Going into a text, the size should be, let's say, 150 again. Make it okay, close. So you found there 1200 size of over here, right? Now the precision needs to be changed over here. So let me change here precision. So precision going to be changed with the 0, single decimal, symbols and arrows. I wanted to change with the architecture tick. Make it okay, make close this one, and now you found that this is a 1200 door. I am making a copy of the same door, and this same door I'll have here, the dimension would be 900 or 1000, right? So there you can go with a distance value for this one is 1000. So what my point is to deliberating this one is like you can create your own standard of your door, that how what are the single panel door you will having, make that list and make that a smart block, and after that provided them into a list, and those list are going to be utilized by your users or by your team members. After that you can change accordingly. You don't need to make it a stretch, you don't need to make it a revolve, or you don't need to make a other stuff or other tools you need to apply it, right? Most of the cases the person are going to be tangling with the doors and the windows, right? So over here you can do this kind of a stuff very quickly and very easy, right? So this was the part of a door part, right? I can do here a flip state as well, flip state to flipped like this. So this is how the block parameters will help you around your blocks part, right? Now let's comes to here uh the furniture part, right? Furniture is also one of aspect where the blocks can be utilized into a smart position. So let's discuss that one also. So right now, I need to make here a furniture categories of a blocks. So what I can do, this is what the dynamic furniture, I wanted to convert them into a dynamic. These are the single element of probably having a blocks, right? So I would like to choose any of my blocks for creating a dynamic block. So you can check here with a dining table or a round table or anything stuff which you wanted to create or understand the basic parameters of it, right? Let's say I have here a round table. Round table needs to change with the 4 chairs to a 6 chairs, or let's say with a round connectivity. So I wanted to change, let's say the dimension of this dining, this is a rectangular. So let's check this one. Right now, these two chairs I have copied, and the dimension between them is 800 of the table size, and the distance of one chair to another chair would be a 650, the intermediate distance of a 650. I wanted to convert them into my smart blocks. Okay, smart blocks converts into, like, it's also called as a dynamic block. Now, what the next thing I wanted to do is I needs to have first categorize into a block, right? So I select this one. While selecting this one, I wanted to convert this one into my furniture as a block. Define over here with the name of a dining table, or anything you wanted to go according your name, you can go. Right now, this is a dining table, so I'm choosing this one a dining table. Choosing this as a, sometimes you wanted to go with a geometric center, so you need to go to object snap and comes to a geometric center. All the snap points should be activated, right? And after that you can get with the center point of your geo center. Probably I am still figuring it out why geometric center is not highlighted, but yes, you, if you are choosing in the just middle of it, you can hit with the O snap multiple times, and if it's not providing you, you can just zoom in out and zoom out, zoom in, right? Most of the chances have been like zoom in, zoom out. The one of the reasons it's not showing a geometric center, but no worry, you select the blocks again. Let me do it like this way. And by doing this, I need to define here my convert to a block. I'll choose this one as a center. Now this is the two chair and one is the center table. Now in this is basically a dining table for the two chairs. What if I wanted to increase my number of chairs or increase the dining table length or width part, right? So the dynamic block will help me out for this. So first of all, I wanted to go with the base point. So the base point would be the where you wanted to provide your insertion point after placing a blocks, right? And we'll use here a linear dimension for giving a dimension. See that these parameters are always important, because without creating a parameters, you can't provide here a actions, right? So once you provide with the parameters, then you'll able to go. So there's a grid display is a one of a way to doing the point changes to two to a one as well. So right now the distance point is only a gripper point is only a one. So selecting this one, there's an option, let me comes to down, right? So there's a distance type. So I wanted to do with now increment. Right now increment is I wanted to give here a 650, because the distance between is 650 one chair to another. So I'm just minimum is 650. So now you found that automatically it'll giving you options. Now stretching one of IK, one of the dimension, making here a 1 point, giving this one as a stretching area, where when the stretch or distance are going to be changed, the table dimension will change automatically after every 650 mm. So selecting this, making here a selection, make it here now, select your object and make it okay. After making a okay, right, it would going to give you another options, right? So right now I have provided here an incremented value. In the previous design, I have done here list part. So once I made here, okay, now you found there's an array, right? I wanted to utilize the same distance parameter for my chairs part, should be doing here an array action. So what I'm going to do over here is selecting here a parameter. This is a parameter, right? And now selecting here a chair. These are the two chairs I wanted to select. Let me select here a bottom side and let me select here this line, right? And after that, it's going to be ask me the select object. I have done here selecting object automatic distance between the columns. What would be the distance? How much distance I want for entering my column? Like these are the chairs, right? After what distance the chair will come at a 650. So I'll make this one. So you found that there would be two icons comes over here, right? And close this block editor, save this one. Now let's see the magic, what they have bring it us for. So you found once you are clicking on number of increment, right, it'll stop and create here a number of chairs. Lot of a time people utilize and ask me that whether it'll be possible to create a number of chairs on a table, or let's make a change of other things stuff as well. So of course you can do it if you know have a knowledge of a dynamic. So you found that the single two chairs converted into a 8 chairs, right, with the center table of a dining, right? You can convert them into a very quicker note. And I think that is the magic of a dynamic furniture. You can go ahead accordingly. And once you have been utilize your furniture, it would be help you out for your users, how it's going to be done. The name, the rotation, you can change your rotation as well. Make the changes of a rotation like 90-degree, right? These are the stuff you can utilize. Right. I hope that furniture would be helping for your dynamic block. All right. So the another thing which we comes over here with for your side is making a round table, right? You found that when we are making a furniture, there's a lot of a category coming with the linear edges, or there's a lot of a category coming with the round thing, right? So what if I have here a number of chairs which have been into a round shapes, or maybe a irregular shapes, right? How are going to be conclude with those position or blocks? So you found that there's a number of blocks I have been stored inside my drawing, right? I can choose any of my blocks, right? And in the previous I have done this one, as in a rectangle. So the next one is I wanted to utilize with uh, the chair of this, right? Now the circular part is going to be utilized. The previous one is having a 2 seats. Now we'll having here a different seats segments. Now different segments are going to be utilized. For example, 2 seats, 3 seats, 4 seats, 6 seats, 8 seats, 8 and 10 seats, right? How would you selecting for the visibility, right? So visibility is going to be utilized when you are making a dynamic block. Visibility is comes under a part of a reusing a block, which we have decided in the PPT. They are the three things, right? So the third chapter would be having a reuse, how you are making a block and how you're making a editing block. And the third one is how you utilizing your block in a beneficial manner. So over here, we are going to understand the chapter of a visibility. So visibility comes over here with the very normal stuff, right? What I'll do, you found that this is a block, this is a 3 chairs, this is having a 4 chairs, and apart from increasing a number of chairs, right? How you are changing a single block into a 8 chairs, into a 6 chair, into a 4 chair, because many times you found that whenever you are designing for a furniture area or designing for the space, you wanted to take a quicker decision that whether these are going to be circulated for the 2 or 3 or 4 chairs or not, right? So what would be the decision criteria, how it's going to be help you out with through a visibility positions. So right now I'm having here a this furniture, making here a copy, right? And let me do this copy and pasting into my Control C, selecting here. Now, see, you can see there is a geometric on center, right? So I'll place this one, Control V, placing in the geometric center, click, right? Similarly, I would like to do with the this 3 and 4 as well, right? If you want, before making anything, you need to make sure that this should be a block, right? After that, you can create any stuff inside a visibility graphics. Before that, it won't be help you out for the visibility specifically. So over here, I choose here a part, pick points or giving here a name of 2 seats, right? Specify this with the picking point, geometric center, selecting a selecting object, make this one as a OK. And after bringing them into a block editor, I wanted to change now 3 and other chairs as well, right? Let me copy all of them, choosing here a base point, just right there, right? And convert them into my number of blocks according to its names, right? So quickly doing this one, let me provide this one a name as a 3 seats, pick point, given here a center part, right? Give it here a select objects. I don't want it to open into a block editor, so that's why I have untick that portion. First of all, you need to make here entire into your blocks. So that's what my first part of a job. So I think that is a very easy, you know how to create a blocks right away. So once it's going to be block, then it's going to be help you for making a visibility, because while selecting inside a visibility, you would have to select with a single node of a selection. If it will not a block, then it could be a really difficult to convert into a visibility part, right? Then it will going to be a single element, and it will going to be difficult for the operationable qualities, right? Okay, so right now I'm having here 6 to 8, I think 8 chairs, right? So right now I have a 6 seats of a different shape, so that's why I'm routing the 6 seats to making here a center table and convert them into a let it be. Okay, now make this one as a 8 seats. Pick point and make this one as a geometric center. In the previous part, we don't get here a geometric center, but right now we're getting a geometric center just because of a zoom in and zoom out, right? So you can do this. And right now I have here, I think 10 seats. So I'll just writing here a 10 seats. Pick point, center point to a geometric center. Like this is the way, right? I'm talking about that sometimes geometric center won't come. So you have to make a zoom out and zoom in. Okay. So once you do this, make it okay. Now we'll all sorted with the blocks, right? 2 seats, 3 seats, and you found that every block, every furniture has been converted into your block. After doing this, right, we have here a block editor. So we'll convert any of our furniture into a block editor, right? Any of them. You don't need to make the specific one. Any of them you wanted to convert, so you can convert it, right? So right now, I'm just moving this one a bit above and wanted to place the insertion of my blocks of a 2 seats. Right, picking point. Let me select here furniture. Right, I'm just making here a furniture basically without having a block. So I'm writing here a furniture top. So selecting object, without selecting object, and get converted into my block editor. So right now I don't have anything over here, right? So I'm just making a selection in the area, making here okay. Select object, of course they are going to ask me that you wanted to select object or not. So I'll keep doing like this, and now I wanted to insert my all the blocks which I have converted into the name accordingly. So right now I have a 2 seats, 6 seats, 4 seats, right? All those furnitures I bring with the 2 seats and provide here an insertion point 0, 0. So this is the chair I have. Now I wanted to go with first base point. Base point is like, what is your insertion thing? If you wanted to change your insertion point, so you can change it through the base point parameter, right? By mistakenly, if you have provided. So the same way I wanted to provide here a visibility parameter. Now what visibility parameter will help you out? It's a visibility states. You can create all those states accordingly. This is a 2 seats, right? I wanted to create a new states for 3 seats, 4 seats. So I'm just keep placing a new states. 4 seats. Now I have a 2 option for the 6 seats. So right now I'm having here a 6 seats as well. And after that, for the 10 seats, okay. So let me convert that one into a static for my 2 seats. After that, I wanted to change my visibility states. Sometimes you found that when you make a cancels, it's going to be deleted all those states, right? So probably I have not saved as a okay, right? So now I'll have here 2 seats to 10 seats. I made this one now. So selecting this one, I'll have here changing 3 seats. Now, when I have a 3 seats visibility, what I should do is I wanted to place here a just right there, right? So before placing a 3 seats, I wanted to make invisible of my 2 seats. So this block I need to make invisible so that it will not going to be provide any kind of a confusion when I place here a 3 seats, right? So I place this one as 0, 0, right? So that is a 3 seats along with the all kind of a blocks. This is a 2 seats and this is a 3 seats. So this is how it's going to be changed. Now for the 4 seat, I wanted to make invisible for the 2 seats again. make it okay. So this block will be invisible in the state of 4 seats. So I place accordingly 4 seats for my table. Right. And after doing this, you'll have here a 6 seats. So you place here a 6 seats as well. You can move this visibility tag on the little bit left on side. So after this, you'll comes to other seats as well, like just make invisible these, select your 2-seat table and change to your another option for your blocks. Like this comes to 8 seats now. Let's quickly done this. Make this invisible, raise here 8 seats, provide here a value 0, 0, and then going with the invisible again for the 10 seats and selecting like this. And what I have done, I have just utilized here a visibility parameter, and the other blocks which I'm placing over here, doing with the states and placing one by one according to its invisibility. So right now this is a 2, 3, and you can check with every state that is there any other block have been left within that state or not, right? You have to cross check once. So that's fine. Every seats have been done. Now comes to a 2 seats only. After doing this, I have a base point and visibility parameter already been there. So going into my close editor box, I wanted to close this, save this to a furniture top. Now there would be a now one options. So what would be the options? Option would be like, without selecting one by one, I can make, let me here place it over here, right? So there's a lot of times we'll have a problem that we wanted to see a lot of a furniture, right? But on the same spot, if I wanted to see how it's going to look like for the space, I can do select this one, right? There's a visibility, 3 seats, right? And from the one click, you can select here a 4 seats. From the one click, you'll get a 6 seats. And then second option, then next option, right? So this is how you can change your visibility parameters for your option part, right? So these are kind of a steps you can go for your dynamic thing, right? Hopefully the dynamic will able to understand with the visibility, right? You can opt for the lot of options through a visibility and do the stuff where it can be utilized, right? Okay, so going for the next part, let's say I have a title block. Now in the title block also have a lot of options. So in the title block, you can convert your whole size of blocks, right, into your A0, A1, A2, A3, right? The same kind of a blocks you are going to convert and make that one into your dynamic block, from where you can change with a single click and changes its all dimension with a dynamic distance or dynamic increment or dynamic listed values. Okay, so that is also one of our stuff. Then coming back to our tips and tricks. See, many times we found that we have created a blocks without giving a proper name, right? So without proper giving a name, it will be difficult for the other user to identify that what kind of a block he needs to utilize, right? Just because of 2021 and 22 is going to be prompt up with the bigger size of your blocks, people able to recognize that this is what the block they wanted to use. But if you wanted to rename those things with the blocks, so you can have a command which we call as a rename. A rename is something like you can put a rename command. In the rename command, you'll have all those name object, which you can actually rename it, like a blocks, detail view style, layers, line types, material, multi-leaders, plot styles, section views, table style, text size, styles, right? UCS, viewports, views, all those things can be changeable according to its name. So this is the one of a thing. Then in the Express tool, right, you'll have here a couple of a thing like import, attributes, replace the block, list property, convert blocks to xref, copy nested object, extend to nested object, right, team to nested object. So all those things have been under Express tool. Lot of a times when the AutoCAD has been installing, right, you need to make sure that while installing the Express tool be checked, because Express tools are having a lot of a command which are going to be usable by a user, and it's going to be have a lot of a usage, right? Then there is a b count. B count is going to be have a one kind of a tool, right, which is going to be utilized for number of object it's going to be counted, right? How many number of nested objects you have utilized, but this command only be available on Express tool. Then on the similar basis, if any kind of a object or any kind of entity you want to do select for a multiple time, so you'll have here option of a select similar. Lot of a person doesn't know about a select similar. Select similar also does have a settings option, so you can select according to the settings like a filter, right? So you can choose a select similar with the layers, line type, color, or a blocks, right? So you can do this stuff as well. Block, you can choose here a quick q select for a block references or name, right? So that was from my side, right? Thank you on the behalf of Capricorn Technologies. I hope that you would have a lot of knowledge right now, right, in terms of dynamic blocks, in terms of utilizing the blocks, how you are going to utilize for the standard. For the one side, I wanted to tell you that whenever you are creating a blocks and other features, make sure that you should have a different kind of set of libraries. When you are having a set of a library, the other users can utilize those things very quickly. Make a simple blocks into a one content library. The second dynamic block should have another library, so that the person are not going to be confused. Make that different kind of a tools palette, so that whenever you are been required for a dynamic block, the person can choose a right tool palette. If he needs a blocks, so he can choose according to a block palette, right? So this is how you can go and arrange with your standards. Once you have been done with your standards, I think the 90% of your repetition task has been solved, right? And when you are creating a lot of a drawing creativity, right, there's a lot of a repetition through by customers, through by your users, through by your seniors, right? So it's better, why don't you make the blocks into a smart, so that you are going to focus on your design, not to do the blogs content again and again, right? So meanwhile, if anyone having any doubt, so they can ask me on a chat. They can ask on that basis, and I love to answer them. Yes, anyone having any query, so they can ask it through a Q&A, can ask questions. Okay, Mr. Vijender Singh is saying kindly share the video recording. Okay, so we definitely will provide through a marketing team. I guess they are going to be help you out with the video recording. Okay, apart from, I hope that you'll able to understand how to create a dynamic block. Okay. Yes. So I request everyone, please write your questions so that you can get an answer. I think Harish Kumar is also raising his hand. So if you are having any query, so please write it. Can we change diffusers or different size in a one block? Of course, you can change, but you have to make first them into a block, and after that you have to provide a dimensions on side your diffuser block. After that, you can change your the sizes accordingly. You can convert them into a visibility as well, but first my preference is make them as a dynamic block. After understanding the part of a dynamic block, you'll try with the visibility. Don't go for the first visibility. First, understand the dynamic of a block that you can change the dimension and they will be changing or not. Dimensioning, sorry, dynamic block and the part of yours visibility have been two different things, right? Visibility is something like you have created a lot of blocks, and the dynamic is something like within a one block you are going to change different sizes, right? So first understand that concept. I hope that it will be cleared enough, but if not, so you can have a practice on it. Once you understand that how the one block can be changed into a multiple times, then you should try with the visibility part. Okay. I hope that you are from mechanical industry. So that's why you are asking. Okay. How can we calculate the quantity of a dynamic block elements apart from the select similar options? Over there, you can have options to B count, right? In the express tool. From there, you can count your block elements, means the total block element. Yeah, Shobika, our marketing team will handle the video recording and all those things. So they definitely provide the one portal where they are providing you the recording. Right. So I hope that you've been clear with my answer. Hariji, I told you that you have to utilize your B count part, right? B count is a one of a tool from where it calculates the blocks, right? Okay. Yes, of course, nested block will not going to be come into account because XREF is the one of the things, right, where it going to be comes into a block, right? So over there, it will be difficult for your nested one. But if you are having a one drawing element and you have stored a lot of blocks and you have utilized them it, then you can go accordingly. Yes, nested block won't be come into a big count. That's true. Okay, from that note, right? I'm taking a wrap of that session. Hopefully that presentation and that the knowledge which I have transferred through my webinar is going to be utilized by you guys, and you're definitely going to have a practice. And moreover, if you are having any doubt or anything, you can come to pin me around, right? And you can connect with us with the Keep Record Technologies Private Limited, and we are having all the solution specialist where we are definitely solve your problems. On that note, thank you so much. Yes, the last question I'll take over here is Harish sir is saying that any option of orientation change in blocks. There is no kind of orientation. You need to change through your rotation part, right? Like I discussed into a dining table. When you create a dynamic block on the properties palette, you'll have here option, right, for the rotation. So that is the only option you'll have. Or either you can provide a parameter for the rotation and make a parameter for the rotation 90, 180 degree. So that will be stored inside a dynamic block, right? You can have one and try on the rotation part parameter, right? Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Let's waiting for the next webinar for the next time.